After that, when we got home, I told Fosh Fanaka, you see what I've did there? I will never do it again in my life. Let us withdraw the money. That's how we bought my first car. When I told Fosh that Mfanaga, let us withdraw the money. We've withdrawn the money. That's how we bought a Ranex. First car, Toyota Ranex. Keep in mind, the Toyota Ranex was a second hand. It was a second hand car, right? When the money got in, we went, it was Pretoria East. Yeah, Pretoria East. There's like a lot of garages. I think it's East or West. I don't remember, but I think it's West or East, whatever the case may be. We looked for cars, and I found a Golf 7. Now, the Golf 7, it was 70,000. We had 80,000. I wanted to buy it. But the Golf 7 didn't have an engine. So in my head, I wanted to buy the Golf 7 and then I will put my own engine inside. I don't know why I was thinking that. And like I'm not normal. Anyways, Fosh disagreed. He said, you can't buy a Golf 7 while you're still starting, while you're still beginning. Let us buy a car. You see, if there is one thing I respect about my boys, is that each and every one has contributed into me being the person that I am. He said, Mfana, we need to buy a car that we will be able to maintain. If we buy a Golf 7, first, number one, you must buy an engine. You don't know how much an engine costs. Number two, you must be able to maintain the car. This thing eats petrol. So let us buy a small car that we will be able to afford and the service is cheap. I listened to him. So we got to this other garage. We saw cars, and then we saw a Ranex. The Ranex, they said it's about 60,000, I think. It was about 60,000. We had 80. And we're like, okay, we have a Ranex. And then Fosh negotiated. We bought it for about 55. I think we bought it for about 55,000. First car. You see, when people are taking me now, they don't know what I've been through, hey? We've bought Ranex. First car, 55,000. After buying Ranex, keep in mind, people, I have never driven a car my whole life. That time I was, how old was I in 2017? I think I was 22 years old. Yeah. 22 years old. Was I 22 or 21? 22 years. I've never driven a car in my life. Ever. Not even once. We got home. Kuto, Fosh, they were driving before. They knew how to drive. So we got home. I didn't sleep that day. I wanted to sleep inside the car. But when I was inside the car, you know, Soshanguve, hey, midnight, there are thugs walking around and all that. So I felt it's not safe for me to sleep inside the car. Hey, let me just go to the house. Inside the house, I mean. So every 15 minutes, I didn't sleep on the first day, 13th of July, 2017. But it only went on social media around a week later. I didn't sleep on that day. I didn't sleep. So every 15 minutes, I would look over the window to see if the car is still there. You know? You can laugh at me now. It's funny. It's fine. You guys don't understand. You guys don't understand. Right now, there's an M4 outside. There's G63. There's what. I don't even care whether they are there or not anymore. You know, I'm used to that. But Ranex was my first true love when it comes to cars. I only slept at 6 in the morning. And then I slept at 6 in the morning. I woke up just before 10. First thing I did when I woke up is that I checked for the car. The car was not there. I checked in Kuto's room, Fosh's room. They were not there. So it's Obvious, Fosh and Kuto went out with the car. They didn't tell me. I called them. They're like, we're at crossing. I walked from the house to crossing. I walked so that I can come back home with a car. I didn't know how to drive. So it was such a big issue to me. It was just such a big issue to me. Now, I told them that they must teach me how to drive. I told them that they must teach me how to drive. So here's the thing. I've noticed one thing. It's very rare for a person who knows how to drive to willingly teach you how to drive. Honestly. So I've asked them to teach me how to drive. Those guys, they were not interested in teaching me how to drive, because they said that driving, it's all about experience. Like, it's all about experience. How long have you been driving? So now I'm an amateur, so I must watch them drive. That's what they wanted me to do. And I'm like, oh, so I must watch you boys drive. So at that time, Fosh had a small skorokoro. Small skorokoro. It was a Citron, what? Pure skorokoro, that one. So it was not moving at that time, I think. It needed what. So I made sure that I got whatever the Citron needed. So I would go on YouTube and then I would Google how to learn how to drive. So I would watch videos teaching clutch, brake, accelerator, indicate, everything, every normal thing. And then I've even went through K53 just to learn how to drive, because those guys didn't want to teach me how to drive. Yeah, it was a Citron C3. So the Citron, every day at 6 o'clock in the morning, I would go out with my phone on YouTube. I would take out the Citron and I would teach myself how to drive. I would bend the clutch plate. I didn't know what I was doing. The clutch plate would smell literally. I don't even know what I was doing. Every day, 6 o'clock. And then when I get out of, when I manage to get out of the yard with the car, I always get stuck at the street. So I always call them every day, 9 o'clock in the morning. I call them. They come and take me on the street. 6 o'clock, I was just practicing how to drive, because poverty installs a disease in our minds, right? It installs a disease in our minds, and that disease creates anger. The conditions that I grew up under, I've never had an uncle who had a car. My parents didn't have a car. There was nobody in my family who had a car. Do you know a family which does not even have a single car? From siblings and uncles, aunties, cousins, everyone in the family is poor. Now I don't know what was wrong with the family. Honestly speaking, I don't know what was wrong with my family. Hey, we were too poor, man. Hey, we were too poor. So precisely, I'm the first one in my family to have a car. First one. Nah? So that installed anger in me, that the people that I grew up with, their parents used to have cars, they used to drive, they were bragging that you can't. Whenever there's an argument about cars, I was not allowed to comment. Not because I can't drive, but there's nobody in my family who has a car. You can imagine how painful that was at that moment. When gents talk about cars, you don't have rights to talk about cars because nobody in your family has a car. That was me. So such things, they created anger in me, that the day I afford a car, patroniela. That's why even today, I ask a which, what is your dream car? My dream car is Audi S3. I go buy 2 of them. Just in jail for control. No, yeah, but no, yeah. It's because of that. It's you can't come to me now and you'd wanna change my mind about cars. I still have the anger. It's not really healed. I still have it in. I feel like I'm not done. I feel like I haven't started with these people. You see, so don't blame me when I go around chasing cars and all that. There's a gap that I'm trying to fulfill. Had I grown up in a family which had a car, I wouldn't be running after cars. Maybe I would be running after something else. But now it's anger. I have anger in me. So I want you guys, as my loyal supporters, to let me deal with these people accordingly. I will deal with them accordingly, one by one. You see, so that's the main reason behind the crazy buying of cars. It's like I have this open space in my heart, and I can only feel it when I buy cars. It's like that. And it's not something that you can make me change my mind over one night. It's a process, you know. And there are some of you guys right now who are developing such hatred. You're developing such hatred. The day which you make it in life, you will deal with them as well. You will deal with them. So it's that. If the way I grew up, if I was allowed to talk about cars, if I had the platform, I don't think I would do things the way I do them now. So that was the main reason behind that. So I've taught myself how to drive, so forth. I've taught myself how to drive and all that with that Citroen. Now, one day, when they woke up, they didn't find me. I got out with the Ranex. They didn't want me to touch the Ranex. You see, they didn't want me to. They were acting like my parents, these boys. Hi, small boys. So I got out. Hey, they were panicking. Where are you? Don't worry, I'm safe. That time I'm at the street behind, stuck again. You know what we call step hill, like on a hump. I was failing to pass by a hump, like a speed hump, you know, because I didn't understand gears that much. So I wanted to pass the hump using gear number 3. So whenever I would do that, the car would say, grrr, grrr, grrr. So they came and rescued me. But one thing led to another. They've taught me how to drive. And then I finally decided to get a driver's license. I've went through the professional level lessons of driving school and so forth. Then that's how I actually got my license. Now, July. I remember July, we bought our first car, right? There's 3 of us. We have 1 car. Now I know how to drive. Fosh knows how to drive. Kuto knows how to drive. When Kuto gets out, me and Fosh don't have a car. When Fosh gets out, Kuto and I don't have a car. When I get out, they don't have a car. So we've decided that, hey, boys, it's best we get a second car. We've sat down. We've looked at events again. We're like, boys, let's get a second car. We deposited 5,000 rands. We've traded the same GBP events. We made money. I just don't remember how much we made there. And then we bought a second car. Our second car was, I'm still trying, it was a Corsa Light. Corsa. Second car was a Corsa Light. Second car. That was in August. First car was in July. Second car was in August 2017. Now, we have 2 cars. Now, we were always fighting because nobody wanted the Citroen. The Citroen was a pure skorokoro. It was not a car, that thing. That thing was not a car completely. So we were fighting because now we have 2 cars. That is a Toyota Ranex. That is a Corsa Light the hatchback version, not the sedan. Coah Light. It was gold in color. Right now I have a gold M4. It's levels. I come from far. Ranex was black. I got a black G63. Coah Light was gold, and I got gold M4. Do you see the progress? It means that years from now I will have a gold plane. Years from now I will have a black Bugatti. You see, it's levels. So you can't just come here now and think you know me. I come from far, people. You guys were not there. I was not even famous that time. Now, the problem we had with two cars was that one guy was always left behind because we all wanted to drive. So I told the boys that, you know what, boys, now I'm tired of playing Mickey Mouse with you. When I want to get out, you boys are out because you have a better driving experience and so forth. So I am going to buy my own car, the one that I'm going to drive alone. I don't want to see you boys on my car. They said, okay, it's fine. How are you going to buy it? Same procedure. Fund your trading account, make money, you go buy a car. Now, I bought an Audi A4, 2007 model. Understand how old the car was. That is third car. Audi A4 2007 model. Very old. Mileage was 200 and something thousand kilometers. I didn't care about kilometers. I wanted Audi. I wanted Audi at that time. I wanted Audi. I got that Audi. When I went home, day one, day two, that Audi had a coolant problem. Remember, I just bought it. Coolant problem already. Already it's coolant problem. I took it to the mechanic locally. They fixed it. 2 days, it started leaking oil. I took it to the mechanic. So that Audi, it was the way it was so tired of living. I don't know. Every 2 to 3 days, I used to take it to the mechanic. These are the things which you guys don't know that we have been through. You guys just see this nice lifestyle and you think we've had it all. You guys have no idea. We have been through the most, hey? I know I've driven all types of skorokoros you can ever think of. I've personally been a mechanic, I would say. I even knew how to disengage an engine because of that Audi A4. It was always at the mechanic all the time. Now, this other one time, my girlfriend at that time, she wanted me to come see her. Ne? So it was around 2 p.m. So I started the Audi, and then I was going to see her. Now, when I was going to see her, this is what happened. The car just the accelerator just stopped reacting. You see, when you press the accelerator, it didn't do anything. It was like the speed sensors were dead, right? I press. That cars are making they're barking, they are hooting that I'm blocking the road and all that. And I pulled aside. I managed to pull aside, and I turned it off and I turned it on. That car was stuck. 2 minutes, now it didn't turn on anymore. Completely, 100%. It was not turning on anymore. That is when I've learned the power of financial freedom from that day. I called Kut. I'm like, boy, where are you? He's like, I'm at the house. I'm like, take the Corsa and come to this certain location. He came there. When we got there, the Audi A4 couldn't do anything. We tried jump starting it, everything. It didn't do anything. So we called the mechanic guy. He came with a towing truck. He fetched the Audi and he took it to his workshop, right? Immediately after that, now that simply means that I didn't have a car. That's when I learned the power of financial freedom. Fosh was at home at that time. I told Kutz, I'm like, boy, I don't have a car now and I can't share a car with you. So I'm going to buy a car right now. It was around past 3. He's like, Emna, when you're crazy, you're going to buy a car right now. I'm like, yeah, where's your ID? It's here. I'm going to buy a car right now, like now. He's like, hey man, Emana, you know we plan when we buy a car. I'm like, Kuto, I want a car right now. I have to go see my girlfriend. I want to buy a car right now to go see my girlfriend. We argued, but I won at the end of the day because I told him that if he doesn't let me buy a car, I'm going to take the Corsa. You will not see it again. I'm going to sleep over at my girlfriend. You will not have a car. So he said, okay, let's go. We went to the shop. We didn't know which car we were looking for. And then we found i30, Hyundai i30. Fresh condition. That was the freshest car we've ever bought. It was almost brand new. It was pre-owned, but almost brand new. Better. The mileage was about less than 15,000. It was almost brand new, basically. You know, it even had that smell, that brand new smelling and a bit. Compared to the A4 had dust inside. When you enter, you can smell the dust and the number of cigarettes the previous owners have been circulating in the car and all that. So that was, you know, we've bought that. The transaction was done around 5 p.m. 5 p.m. we have our fourth car. Remember, the A4 is at the mechanic. Then we went home. You know? So the neighbors at our street, they were starting to question. Remember, we were not famous at that time. Social media wise, no, we were not really famous. We were there, but not really famous. So our neighbors were starting to question themselves. They're like, these boys are thugs. But they're like, nah, they look too soft to be thugs. Because I think you can easily see a thug. Like a thug, you can see with the behavior. So right now we were like small boys. And they were surprised. Because at our street, our house was the only house which the yard was full with cars and others would park outside. It was the only house at the street. Only house. You know, they were questioning themselves. Hey, what's wrong with these boys? So the Audi got back from the workshop. It was fine now. Now we have 4 cars. There's 3 of us. 4 cars, 3 of us. Now that simply means that I decide when I want to drive. Today I drive the Audi i30, sometimes Ranex, Corsa. So we were just rotating. So it was easier when we had more cars than, you understand. It was 4 cars at that time. I don't count the Citroen. I don't count the Citroen. Now,